So what's gonna happen with Dame and James Harden? I mean, I want to talk more about Dame specifically, but I don't know what's gonna happen with these guys, and that scares me. So if you guys don't know what's happening, is that Damian Lillard officially requested a trade. He said that he requested it. All the media outlets broke the story, but Dame has really just been wanting a trade from Portland because they've treated him wrongly in terms of building teams around him and putting a future in front of him. Now, this has led to the Blazers, having to look for trade requests. But with all in all, they have had Dame for 11 years now, 10 years, I'm pretty sure. And this is the point where if he asks for a trade, then you need to trade him to where he wants to go. I said this the other day, but it's unfair that a guy gave you all the years of his career, every chance that he could, and that now when he finally wants to go to one team, which is the Miami Heat, he literally said it, that I only want to go to Miami. They don't want to trade him there because they don't have what they want in return. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say and look at the Blazers and be like, oh, yeah, I understand where they're coming from. And me too. Like, if you have a superstar and your plan is to win, because even though I don't understand why the Blazers want to win, they're not going to, right? They have to, in my opinion, they should rebuild around Shaden Sharp. But since they just want to win next season, they obviously have this thirst for winning, and they, even if it's with Dame or without him, they want to do something big. That's why they signed Jeremy Grant for $160 million, even though he didn't really deserve that contract. They gave Dame that huge extension. They had Anthony Simons locked up for a bunch of years, and now they drafted Shaden Sharp, which was like the best man available. They've been really looking for a lot of assets and securing a lot of guys to try to push into the playoffs. Now, I don't know why the Blazers do this. The Trailblazers are one of the worst run franchises in the league. Like, how do you have a generational talent, or what looks like one, in Scoot Henderson, and your star player in Damian Lillard, and you don't want to trade him to a place for assets? Like, Dame asked for a trade, and you have Scoot Henderson, and you have Anthony Simons. In my opinion, what you do in this situation is you trade Jeremy Grant, you trade Yusuf Nurkic, and you trade any player like Matisse Thybulle that might make you better, right? Well, Matisse Thybulle is not really, you know what I'm saying? But the Trailblazers are a really badly run franchise. Like, just think about the situation. You have a generational talent, and I'm sorry to say it again. You have a superstar player who wants to be traded and could probably get you 4 first-round picks. And you have a bunch of pieces which could be traded for more picks. Now, what do most teams do in this situation? What you do is you either try to negotiate, with your star player where he wants to go and maybe try to grow from that, or you rebuild. But since Damian Lillard already said that he just wants to go to Miami, there's no negotiations about where he wants to go. He's been there for 10 years. He's been your best player for 10 years. And he's pushed you to the Western Conference Finals in a stacked Western Conference multiple times. So in my opinion, this is the time where you do what Damian Lillard wants. You have to give justice to your players. As a good franchise, as a respectable franchise, you have to do that. Like Cleveland, even though they lost with LeBron for 7 years, right? They allowed him to get the contract that he wanted. Like, LeBron wanted a 3-year contract instead of a 4-year deal, and that's what allowed him to go to Miami in 2011. Now, of course, I don't think they knew that he was going to do that, but they still worked in the player's favor and they took him back in when he wanted to come back, even though they were in a rebuilding period. So, as a respectable franchise, you have to respect your players and what they want to do. Like when Cleveland traded LeBron in 2018 to the Lakers, right? They respected him. They were like, okay, you've done so much for this franchise. Thank you for being here. We're going to trade you to the team that you want. And we'll figure out what we get back from that, right? They would like when the Lakers got Anthony Davis, and he said, like, yo, after having given them like 8 seasons or 7 seasons of straight dominance, he said, I just want to go to the Lakers. Don't put me anywhere else. And even though that did happen where they traded him to the Lakers, they ended up making it make sense. Like they managed to keep LeBron, AD, and some pieces around them, right? And then finally, with even recently, when KD asked for, or when KD was going to be traded from the Suns, no, from the Nets, and he said, I want to go to the Suns or to Miami, they traded him to the Suns because they knew that he had put in his effort and that he had tried with the franchise. And they were, out of respect for the player, because the Brooklyn Nets are a great franchise, ran by good people, like Joe Tsai is a great owner, they traded him to where he wanted to go. Even, yes, he had messed up a lot of stuff. Maybe he had done some things which you wouldn't want him to do. But Kevin Durant, when he was with the Nets, he played hard. He tried to get them into the playoffs every year. He played as many games as he could because he gets injured basically once a year. So they, out of respect for what he had done, they were like, okay, we want to move on to a next step in our process. We're going to trade you to where you want, right? So totaling all of this and really looking at what the Blazers are doing right now, where they basically said we're going to prioritize the franchise over the player, doing this is not a bad move, right? But doing this with Damian Lillard is a horrible move. Like maybe if this was with a guy like James Harden, right, who came in, stayed a few years, and then left after stuff got tough in the Boston series. But this is with Damian Lillard, the guy who has won you playoff series, the guy who has took you in the playoffs to where you had never been in 50 years, right? No, in 20 years since, or like 15 years since the Scottie Pippen in 2000 where they got to the finals, right? In the year 2000 where they faced off against Shaq. You hadn't been here in 15 years. This guy revitalized your franchise, and now you don't want to trade him to where he wants to go. Personally, I believe that franchises also need to respect themselves. But in these situations where we see this type of stuff happening, we need to, as a community, just step in and say something, right? Like Dame said it, I just want to go to Miami. He feels like it gives it the best chance to compete, to really, have a good culture, and probably for his family, going to Miami is what he wants. He has kids, he needs to raise them, and I don't think he wants to raise them in a place, that's not a city and that's not well equipped. Maybe he has a house in Miami, maybe he's got connections there, maybe he knows people and where he would put them, the schools and stuff like that. So maybe Miami just works. And that's, he said it, that's where I want to go. So in my opinion, just to total this all out, and just to say a little portion about James Harden, I just want to say that honestly, Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers situation has been rough, Now, something that I did want to add about James Harden, just to, say it right now because I feel like this is an update. I don't know if he's getting traded. Like, he accepted his player option. And I don't know if this was just a show right? To try to stir up the league, because I know that these guys in Philly, they play a lot with the mental and the economical side of everything. You know, I don't know, because I saw him laughing with Embiid and Tobias in this white party that happened. So I don't know if this was just, like a show, but it doesn't really look like anyone has the assets or the necessities to trade for James Harden right now. And I don't know when that's gonna get done, but if something happens, I'll make a video. And I just wanted to talk about that Dame situation, honestly. Yeah, let's see what happens.